I want to play for you. He specifically talks about an aspect of the Matrix calling up his ex-girlfriends throughout this process that I found fascinating. Mm-hmm. Tyler, this is at 3303. If we can play that, and then Rollo will get your reaction to that. We're just going to fast forward. This is the brother, too, I hadn't seen. This
one
is
of my favorite, but the fuck is wrong with you?
You know, the thing is, though.
Grow up!
The thing is, you know what's crazy? The Matrix has tried this. So in the height of the media storm against me, after they silenced me, about 15 of my ex-girlfriends were contacted by reporters saying, do you have anything bad to say about Andrew? Do you have anything bad to say about Andrew? Now, if I wasn't a gentleman, because these are all ex-girlfriends, they have no reason to protect me. They all called me, Andrew, these people are out to get you. This is unfair. I'd never turn on you. You were so nice to me. You're such a good man. Not a single woman turned on me. KSI is out here with women talking about how he makes them uncomfortable, talking about rape face. I don't have a single woman who's come forward saying I've done anything bad to them. In fact, only the contrary. I have endless women coming forward saying I'm a nice man. Not a single woman has come forward and said I have hurt them or I've done anything bad to them. Not a single one. Even when they were offered money to lie about me, they still wouldn't do it. Whereas KSI is sitting here with things like this out in the open, he's not canceled. True Geordie's clearly a sexual deviant. He isn't canceled. Ethan is saying the things he's saying, which we already talked about him being a racist and a sexist and misogynist. He ain't canceled. And everyone's going to sit there and pretend they canceled me because of misogyny. I don't lie.
So this was, I thought, very compelling. I'm not surprised that they called his, of course not. They wanted to get somebody on record. You know, the hunger of the machine. I could just see it. Let's get him. This is the moment. Let's call all his ex-girlfriends. You could just see they were really jazzed up on that.
All it takes is a suspicion. Yeah,
all it takes is suspicion. So I want your thoughts on that, but also I have to say his coverage of the KSI. I didn't know much about KSI, but and True Geordie, I was laughing. I lost it. I mean, I really lost it because he was saying something very valid, which is like, why am I banned? But these people are over here doing all this kind of stuff, and that's totally okay. Why the double standard? And I think the answer is obvious, that his influence was deemed to be much larger and hence more problematic. But go ahead, give me your reaction.
No, I made this observation on yesterday's show about him. I just recently, I think it was just this week, I think she was Twitch streamer. I think her name is Adriana Chechik or something like that. She was basically having sex on Twitch, right? Just in flagrant violation of the user thing. She gets a 7-day suspension. That's it. Like, and but here's, Tate's like, what did I do? It's not. You have to remember, like when we're talking about the Matrix and we're talking about because it's an abstract term. It could be whatever you want it to be, but the system, right? You have to remember that the system is still people that are in the system. So when, say, for example, I used Joe Rogan not too long ago. You say, well, Joe Rogan went over to Spotify, he made $100 million. And now some of his old archived videos are getting deleted because the system wants to delete his interviews with Jordan Peterson or with, Stefan Molyneux, whoever it is, right? Because they don't like the guy that they had on there and they don't want that in the archive in the library. And maybe Joe cares, maybe he doesn't. But the fact is that that decision is made by people, is made by the ideology of the people, the emotionalism of the people who can press the backspace button and delete that, permanently delete. Yes. So you have to remember that just because we're talking about big tech and we tend to see them as these juggernauts or these like impenetrable, big tech kind of things, they're run by people. Right. Zuckerberg is a person. Okay. What's his name? Jack Dorsey is a person. Okay, whoever's making the decisions at Spotify to do those things, whoever's decided that we're going to collectively ban Andrew Tate and any of his sub channels on TikTok, a person did that. A person said, you know what? This is so dangerous and it grates against everything that I ideologically, philosophically, think that I'm going to press the backspace button here. So it's not just this. I think as human beings, we tend to want to find the other, the enemy, the outside, like Illuminati or the cult of Moloch worshiping, baby eating, Jeffrey Epstein island going, Illuminati that's in control, puppet masters and everything. Those people are still human beings. They still have this ideology. They're programming. It's their whatever. They're still responding to what you and I respond to as human beings as well. And so you have to take that element into consideration when you're criticizing the system, when you're criticizing the Matrix, because they just have a power that you don't have. So when somebody, like, say, for instance, like, what if a guy like Andrew Tate gets into that system, and now he's the one that's making the decisions on who gets deleted and who doesn't get deleted. I've made this observation before that everyone you know is a social justice warrior. It just depends on what your idea and what your definition of justice happens to be.
I think that's a fantastic point, looking at it from more of a human level, because it is true when you talk about the system or the matrix, you tend to see it as like aliens or something, like it's removed from humanity.
It's the evil others. And we want to have an enemy that's like greater than ourselves to sort of go up against. And the problem with this is because people ask me all the time, don't you think feminism was a result of the Jews or the Rockefellers or these vested interests and everything? I go, well, they were probably there. Like certainly there was commercial interests that were there, like Johnny on the spot, to make sure that they were going to profit off of those social movements. But the answer to that question is no. It's us. Right. It's just who we are. It's just what we are as human beings. And you put us in this situation, whether it's technology or society or whatever, you put us into those environments, and humans are going to act like humans.
and by the way, the same conversation applies. People often vilify government. I do. I can't stand big government, but it's like they forget that government is just a bunch of bureaucrats. It's just a bunch of people. It's not a building. And when the vaccine mandates came down, I always reminded people, like, there are people enforcing this. And in places like New York City, oftentimes it also became law enforcement that was going around and yanking people out of stores. So you have to be able to hold people accountable for their actions as people as well. You don't just get to blame an institution. End of story. That's much easier, but it's also following orders. Right. Exactly. I was just following orders. I ripped you out of you're a 10-year-old and I ripped you out of a store eating a sandwich because you didn't have the vaccine card. Yeah, I didn't have a lot of patience for that, as you might imagine. So
I watched this. Can I throw something out really quickly? There's this really great series. It's on Apple TV, but it's called 5 Days at Memorial, and it's about the Hurricane Katrina disaster. And it's like the hospital, that the stories that went on in the hospital, and they had to do euthanasia and all this other stuff that was going on because the people who were working in the system, who are working in the hospital system, were just so dependent on that system that even in a life or death environment where they were like, you know what, all bets are off, man. It's like every man for himself. Even under that system, there's stuff to like write scripts out for, like, morphine, or they're still hoping that corporate is going to send helicopters, right? They're still hoping that the system is going to work for them. 5 days in, people dying, and it's just like it's a third world country, and they're still thinking that the people who are in Texas or who are in the corporate, the corporate world are going to send help, and that they've got some sort of emergency plan that's already established, and nobody did. Right. And so now they're still waiting, and people are dying because they're dependent on that system.
If you like the short clip, you can catch another one here, or you can catch the full episode right here.